In the retail game, the visits of Raziel to the Pillars and the Tomb of the Seraphim are separated by a trip to the Silence Cathedral. However, the Alpha has this order slightly different, with Raziel apparently intended to have visited the cathedral first, directly after the necropolis, before tackling the Pillars and the Tomb together. The outer area of the Sanctuary of the Clans has a different facade and some differing textures from the retail version. Significantly, there are no bars to phase through. Instead, there's a high passage in the cliffs to the side of the sanctuary facade, apparently intended to be reached by an as yet unplaced climbing wall. The passage itself leads up through a narrow rocky pass to where a human hunter can be found armed with a flamethrower at the top. The passage then follows a subtle watercourse back down towards the sanctuary building. At the end, the passage leads out into the bridged courtyard, emerging from an opening in the side wall with a waterfall. The same area in retail actually features a dried waterfall. The courtyard is somewhat simpler, with plainer details and effects that develop through builds, from simple stand-ins to the full Arabian-inspired designs. Notably, the fortified entrance area has no internal structure and is simply a single wall. In the other direction, the dome of the main pillars area is visible from outside. The hexagonal corridors almost seem to be testing ideas, with an array of different textures and themes along the area, which again sometimes progress with the build. The right hand side seems to be further developed, with enemies and textures closer to the final design. No gates are seen in the area, and there are a succession of window-like textures on the outside. Like the other areas here, the main pillars area has some kind of texture progression through the builds, starting off as a set of broken and unfinished textures, and finishing in the more familiar Arabian-inspired designs with clan symbols. The throne setup changes with successive builds, starting as carved into a lump that raises the dais ring, being placed over the ring and finally gaining its own spiked backing. Interestingly, the pillars feature some prototype symbols in early builds that become jumbled in later alphas, before the concept of redesigned symbols was abandoned entirely, and they were left as coloured bands until Soul Reaver 2. Some of the symbols did see some use, however. The proto-mind symbol can be seen through the human citadel, and some of the others appear on early Soul Reaver 2 promotional images. Amusingly, the latest alpha build features several banners with the tag "Long Live Kain", which were replaced by clan banners in later versions. Ultimately, there's no Kain battle in Sanctuary at this time, so the Soul Reaver must be manually activated, which automatically gives the Force projectile as well. Additionally, Node build contains the climbing wall needed to progress. The domed ceiling notably contains several small stained glass windows decorated with clan symbols. The upper level of the sanctuary is largely filled with placeholder textures outside of the pillars room, and the entire outer section leading to the tomb similarly textured in early alpha builds. One notable difference here is the presence of a previously unknown tunnel off to the left at the back of the sanctuary building. This actually leads to the Soundglyph Shrine, an area that was moved to the caves beneath the Silence Cathedral in the retail version. The other tunnel leads on to the tomb of the Seraphat.